Thank you, everyone at the Mosaic Studio, Guild Complex, James, and everyone. Asylum. Another sleepless night, and my remote takes me to Charlie and his blue plastic boat, shared at St. Vincent Orphan Asylum in Chicago. His hair was wondrously full, and he made my belly laugh as we waited and drifted. The dormitory cribs were far different from the blue vinyl mats on the concrete floor of the woman's wing of the shelter. Each places of shelter and transit, an end time at any time. And I see these pictures of the children stacked up like cordwood, relatively safe in their Texas detention camps, compared to the Pakistani children stacked up like cordwood in ox carts after a drone attack. It is difficult to shut off the images on the screen of the mind's eye. The browser sticks and keeps refreshing itself. In the morning, I must go out the door and decide to be alive. The Oak and Maple, for Gamaliel Ramirez and David Hernandez. In this scorched city, the maple and oak tree grew sturdy side by side. Shade and laughter, poetry and Boricane rhythms spread near and far. We basked in their friendship, and ourselves grew stronger, deeper, richer. The maple was felled one Chicago winter, and now the oak was bent on the island and broke. We look at wonder at the work left behind. We look and wonder at the work touched by them. We are glad to have passed under their giant shadows. What keeps you whole? Keep your eye on what keeps you whole. Deliberate distractions are everywhere. Fixer Bannon seated and planted a white supremacist compliant majority fascist revolt within an illegitimate administration. Keep your eye on what keeps you whole. The official public policy narrative changed. The non-outlier majority is glimpsing what was filed away and hidden from wide media radar. Keep your eye on what keeps you whole. Since when is expecting good access to basic food, housing, and clean water extremist? Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, chains rattled yet? Keep your eye on what keeps you whole. This is a time of change and choosing now how and when to let go. You know the essentials which drive your life. You have crafted your voice for years. Keep your eye on what keeps you whole. Forget the hipster MC who asked, does he know you? Are you a somebody? Forget the workers doling out a cot and shower. Speak in monosyllables. Keep your eye on what keeps you whole. Sometimes you have to channel the inner Rosalind Russell. It's the American way. If you don't remember her, ask your mother. Keep your eye on what keeps you whole. And that neighbor whose gentility reminds you of Rose navigating the ice floes of the North Atlantic, but not sharing her door. Graciously hand over your extra bag at the food pantry. Body language. After Buñuel and Dali's and Chen Andalou. In his dreams, she would find safety beside him, would ignore the flash of passing strangers and darkened storefronts. In his dreams, they would go back to her place, turn a single lock, enter the plush darkness of her apartment, and he'd easily draw her to him without her turning quickly to light a small lamp, to glance over and through the clear vinyl shower curtain, draw the deadlight, pull the latch, slip closed the chain, giving a slight push for good measure. In his dreams on this warm night, they'd wander out into her back porch, her face washed in silver by the full moon. And when he'd stroke her right cheek, she wouldn't flinch. And when he nuzzled the nape of her neck, all that he'd feel would be the soft syllable, oh, without the slight stiffening and soft shit and sigh. In his dreams, he could offer her night's endless possibilities, and she would stroke him till her heart was more than full. Rue du Huchet, March 1976. From my hotel room above the Algerian restaurant, I walked down the narrow steps and out onto the side street. It is more a cleavage in heaped medieval stones than a street lined with green plate glass and pensions. Dawn breaks. From some shadow, an old man is touched by a shaft of daylight and begins to sweep the cobblestones with his bundled twig broom. Across the way, the boulangerie is methodically opening. I could already smell the thick sweetness of crusty bread. Madame is the first shopkeeper to open her door, fling her pail of water onto the stoop, and sweep the remains into the street. I continue down the main street, past the frying Tunisian donuts with mint tea and newly chalked specials written in Vietnamese, French, English, and out onto the bright boulevard. There, that man from the disco last night, brass in pocket, finally makes his way home. A massive St. Michael directs traffic. And those ubiquitous billboards, the great white shark devours the water skier. Jack Nicholson models a straitjacket, wonder makeup for all complexions. Thin young girls hurry past in tight jeans, cowboy boots, and 12 layers of bulky sweaters. The next short pieces are from a sequence called Lyrics for Maria. 3. Things overheard in the neighborhood, an answer poem. Stay away from the Jamaicans. They own property and drive cabs. Okay, man, drop the keys. Why? Just drop the keys, man. I don't know if you said what I think you just said, but if you did, you just wish you never said it. Hey, Mammy, amplified by 3 pairs of beloved young boy eyes. Got blunts. 6. Dirty red parka. Tonight, an exuberant man in a dirty red parka sits down next to me in the kitchen. How's the chicken? Great. He said his mother finally got through from Puerto Rico this morning, 7:30 a.m. after 3 weeks. Son, she asked, When are you planning to get married? But mother, I am married to my husband. Son, if you are happy, I am happy. 6, resilience. Clear a space now, clear a space now, clear a space so you can move. Walk to the middle of the floor. Contract, release, risk off center. Daily, keep finding your center and strengthening that core. Fall down on purpose, monkey face. Take care of the slivers on that old oak floor. Or did they grease our floor? Fall again, fall again, fall again, fall until the people cannot rise. Song for stars and wild grass. Flowers come to mind for some reason. Our train plunges through the pitch black night. Didn't know I loved the night, pitch black. Sparks fly from the engine. I didn't know I loved sparks. I didn't know I loved so many things, and I had to wait until 60 to find out, sitting by that window in the Prague-Berlin train, watching the world disappear as if on a journey of no return. From Things I Didn't Know I Loved by Nazim Hikmet. 10 fingers over a rough palm. Blue clouds cloaked black night and its wash of fresh stars. Fingers once ever limber hesitated over a piano keyboard. Grasses beneath the Milflora galaxy grow in all their varieties. Yellow mesa flowers with spots of periwinkle and red. A generous, detailed expanse. Ignored. Step away. How many different grasses can you count? I didn't know I loved correspondences. That prairie in Illinois, this grassland in New Mexico. Here, I expect Barbara Stanwyck to mosey on by, but it's only Taylor Swift, regretting her lost virginity, lost to a musician, no less. But this vendor of crystals would do Barbara proud. Her leathery skin and fascination with everybody's story. She'd quarried her own gems and moved them herself, with time to attend an esoteric knowledge seminar. I didn't know I loved collecting stories to bring home. Short, shaggy dog, some almost true. I didn't know I loved lives with difference in silken ties. First, an inaugural gathering with no personal contacts. From my own train, needing a local bus toward the airport shuttle, one driver barked, "Wrong line!" Didn't I see that this was a G and I clearly needed an E route? Actually, no. I just arrived from my ABQ from ORD on a bus-free Sunday, a plaza of total strangers. Would they find me strange? Would poems built on an Acer stand proudly next to ones from a Mitsubishi? Would everyone have cuter leggings at yoga? Would the ghost of Georgia O'Keeffe rise up and demand a favorite image sketched at the Art Institute of Chicago, or be deported back to iron skies over Lake Michigan? A man walked into our L car. A stocky man with a salt and pepper brush cut walked into our L car yesterday from the next car, carrying an anonymous mask and wearing fake sheriff stars. I was reading a new book about Latinas, the media, and citizenship. He entered the space where the doors open and held up a battered tablet after slowly putting on his mask. Great. Socially engaged performance artists are the new mimes. He started circling and taking pictures of the passengers, then sat down directly opposite me. I firmly told him to stop taking my picture without permission. I was a member of SAG-AFTRA and held up my newly paid membership card and added that he did not have my permission to shoot, that I had rights. He started screaming at me. I asked if he had a problem with immigrants. He continued to scream and shouted from behind his mask that I needed to go back to where I came from, that he was a real American. I blandly said that I was born here in Chicago. No, you're not. I refrained from offering him this loud mime, an American history nugget that folks who looked like me all became American citizens in 1917. He still kept screaming, but by now was so also texting furiously. He grunted that I was fairly photogenic, however. The guy sitting next to me had a half smile on his face and continued his Candy Crush game, occasionally looking up at the masked man. As I rode to exit, I calmly called Anonymous a privileged, entitled prick. The last piece is from a new anthology, Revolutionary Poets Brigade, Building Socialism. High alert. One or the other of us stumbles, slips into the bathroom. One or the other cat slips into the warm spot and nestles in. We had packed nothing for this trip, but probably will voyage out, return from the other side unchanged. Azure lake and marbled sky split by a rising sun, another day on this side. There is a light within. We see when eyes dim or blaze, lighthouse beacons. This is a time we remember our dreams. We count our dead and cannot gather to mourn. Last night, the weather woman warned to keep your notification devices close. Funnel clouds might touch down not so far away. Thunderstorms boomed, crashed outside our sealed windows. One cat reared up onto my edge of our bed, a flash of light, her corona. Carefully tuck in that blanket of death, covering 220,000 strong in this singular wave of genocide by negligence, commission or omission. Who even knew, besides countless homeless advocates, that poor people doubled and tripled up? And many Latinx people are guessed at by looks as Black or white. Where did all these Latinos come from? Don't bother to ask embarrassing questions. Take away the mental health clinics from people struggling with multi-generational PTSD. Bang, bang, they shot you dead all around. It just didn't ever stop. Struggling to keep ourselves whole without cutting or a whiskey neat. If we could only start up again, this time with a steady income, a steady, clean, safe place to lay our head every night, 2 or 3 people to trust. Push aside this blanket of death, clear a plot, a seed bed to sink into, grow some roots, even thrive, and feel the sun lick our newly sprouted green leaves. Let us build a new stage upon this killing floor. Thank you.